What a well, DJ on the Mac. What coming in with a nice spicy deck list for your retinas, because you know how I do this, and it's going back to my deck where I like lock the fuck in. I lock in, and it's gonna be Armors, baby. You already know I'm an Armors boy, and Magnamon is the creme de la creme. Let's just say that. So for me, I'm all about consistency, because unfortunately, I'm not him. I am seriously not him. I don't have the spice of him. I don't even have the book of him. So right here, if you want a deck list that is just consistent, making sure that you get to that game plan in order for you to get that win, then stick around and enjoy. And if you're new to the channel like what you see, make sure you subscribe and turn the notification bell, because I do videos on the reg, better believe. So let's go over to that nice deck list, because I know you guys are thirsty for it. What? Run it! Okay, let's go over to the eggs. So eggs, it's going to be a standard, you already know, Demi V from BT16. Honestly, this card is the absolute goat for your egg playing armors, because if you're a dual colored Digimon, you're able to gain 1000 DP, and that is all turns. All turns being the crucial thing here, because we want to make sure that your stack is got that DP in order to either not be swung over, or in order for you to actually trigger your main effects off of your options and so forth. So that's why we run this boy at 4. You don't need to run any more eggs, for real, and that is it. Then going over to the rookies, we run 13. 13 is my lucky number, just because I am not him. And I want to make sure that this deck is running consistently and smooth, because if you got it smooth like butter, you're going to get that dub. So starting off with the BT12 Vmon, this is your main searcher. Most likely you are going to be grabbing 2 cards from this, because you can grab your Davis and you can also grab your Vmon or free traded Digimon, which is pretty key. The inheritable don't even matter, really does not. Then our main boy, who's going to be a facilitator to some awesome plays, is going to be a promo V. This is just good because that inheritable is just powerful in order for you to draw when you're a dual colored Digimon, which 9 times out of 10 you're gonna be most of the time. Also, the your turn is really comes clutch as well, because you can reduce that evo cost if you do have a tamer out by 1. So that really helps when, you know, reducing the cost of your Magnamons and also your promo Flamemons, which makes it very memory efficient. Then we go in with our BT18 Vmon. This is great for that inheritable, just enables us to get an additional 2k when we are dual colored Digimon. Really helps out with your promo flames, for real. And also the actual your turn, it comes up clutch niche, but when it does come up, it comes up beautifully, enabling you to effectively gain a memory if you are evoing into a free traded Digimon, which is actually helpful. Because, like I say, if you combo it up with this, effectively you could be evoing for free if you do have this out when you are using this effect. So, once again, strong. Then lastly, we run the starter deck V at 1. So, realistically, you can ultimately run 12 rookies in this deck. That's not a problem at all. Like I've mentioned before, I'm not him. And I'd rather make sure with armors I have a rookie, because it's so low to the ground. Rookies are important, because nothing is worse when you brick on not having a rookie in your starting hand. It's awful, and I don't want to be there. So this just helps with that kind of searching capability in order for us to get free traded Digimon by digging free, which is always welcomed in this deck. So that concludes there for the rookies, solid 13. So let's go over to the champions now. Champions going to be absolutely solid at 11. So let's go over with our BT8 Magna. So we still run that at 4. Very powerful card, able to unsuspend, which is always great. Able to get DP based on how many armors we have in trash by additional 2k per armor. Beautiful. And it's got an armor purge and blocker. Absolutely handy. Good for that kind of final swing action. Then we go in with the absolute goat here, which is going to be the starter deck Magnamon. Such a strong card. It literally, if you're versing a dual colored or even any Digimon with more than 1 color, this just really helps out in order for you to just kind of strip those sources, because it goes based on how many colors you are targeted. So if they've got 3 colors, you will strip 3 of the top Digivolution sources that they have, which once again is handy. And then if they have no sources, they're able to bounce that Digimon, and that also goes for just like any Digimon that has no sources. You can effectively target that, which is very strong indeed. Also, its security effect is a menace, because it will digivolve one Digimon. That can be your Digimon, that can be the opponent's Digimon, and then the battle commences, and then from there you're able to effectively digivolve on top of a Vmon if you have one available, which once again very strong if you have that set up. So run that at 4. Then we conclude with the Promo Flame. Promo Flame, once again, strong card. Combo that up with the BT16V, able to get that additional 2k on top of this, which just makes it a little bit more stronger, because this Digimon does have raid. And then when you are raiding, if this target attack is switched, you're able to bounce the top card of your opponent's security to their hand, which once again is beautiful. And this is not just only by its effect. Effectively, if it was going to be blocked, the attack target is switched, so that would effectively bounce that top security of the opponent's Digimon to their hand. So very powerful card here, without a doubt. Definitely, I understand why the price point of this card is high, because it does facilitate a deck. It really helps out with Magnamon X Antibody, who effectively, you know, you want to be triggering anything from either security in order for it to get its immunity back live. So definitely a facilitator of that. So that there concludes for the Champions 11. Going into level 5s, we do run a solid 2, Cheeky Honkumon. Without a doubt, definitely a very powerful card here, because it's inheritable, it is fantastic, and it means that your Magnamon cannot be blocked by the opponent. Huge. And then this, when digivolving, and also on play as well, is that one of your basically until the end of your opponent's turn, one of your Digimon cannot be deleted by battle. Very, very powerful. Do not underestimate this card. This is why this is definitely a mainstay in armors for real, for real. Run that at 2. So going over now to the Megas. Megas, we run a solid 7 here. Let's go over the mainstays. Mainstay is going to be your Magnamon X Antibody. This is literally your boss monster. Like, seriously, you want to be going into this boy very quickly, because that immunity is just huge. The fact that it procs off based on either your security or the opponent's security, which is very massive in order for you to essentially just be a menace on the field, just cannot be affected by opponent's effects. So that could be options, that can be Digimon effects, you name it, this boy is protected from it. Absolutely ignorant. On top of that, it does gain an additional boost there in DP, which is once again always welcomed by additional 3k. Huge. It's just a menace, just absolutely a menace, and you don't want to mess with this boy. We've got to complement that up with now the 2 Imperial Aces. Paladin, for real, this boy is crazy in this particular deck, because effectively that immunity does carry on when you evo into this boy, depending on obviously what kind of turn you're on. You can trigger that immunity and then effectively go into this, and then you are literally, depending on the board state of the opponent, you're just bouncing cards into the deck, and you're just swinging without any threat of the opponent's security. Right there, it's very massive, and also it kind of keeps you in the game as well, depending on what your matchup is. If you're in purple, you just kind of ruin their strats right there. If you're low on deck, you can just return all your cards back to your deck and keep in the game. Really, really helpful in what it does. And because we are running 2, effectively its other effect is that if you return a white level 7, effectively you will gain free memory by what I recall. Free memory. It's indeed free memory, which is very welcome. So you can literally still turn. Gorgeous. Then going over to our new ace that we do get from the LM set is going to be your Gabumon Bond of Friendship ace. So this is actually really strong in regards to giving you a line of play, and also giving you that kind of nice bit of aggression. The fact that depending on the opponent's Digimon. If they are equal or fewer Digivolution sources than this Digimon, you're able to return 2 of your opponent's Digimon to the bottom of the deck, which, once again, very strong. 2 Digimon is quite detrimental, and most likely you've got a kind of clear board. And then from there, once per turn, you are able, if you do have a Tamer out on field, you're able to unsuspend this Digimon with its when attacking effect, which, once again, if they've got 1 security, you win in game, which is always glorious right there. But that concludes there for the ultimates. So now going over to the options. Options, you already know with the actual kind of armor lineup, it's always pretty chock-a-block in terms of the option lineup. And I think that's where the cases where it kind of bricks. Where for me, I'm all about that consistency. Consistency is key, and I feel like as long as you can consistently do what you're trying to do, you're going to be plain sailing right here. Because we lean we lean more onto the kind of the blue setup, we can comfortably go with a blue members at 3. This is just helping us to kind of dig for and make sure that we can actually get one of our pieces, because we do run quite a plethora of options. We don't want to kind of reduce the range of how much we can dig, and you might just reveal just 3 options, which effectively isn't really necessarily doing you anything in regards to your next line of play. But if you can just dig for, you can just at least clutch 1 key component in order for you to kind of pop off. That's going to be more beneficial for you. And obviously, its delay is able to gain 2 memory you need it. Also, when this is propped from security, it just goes into your battle area, which once again gives us a more memory bank in order for us to do a very big play to return the favor to the opponent. Then we do run the 2 mental training, should I say. Mental training, once again, it just reduces our evo cost, more setup, enables us to grab our blue cards off the reveal of 2, which is once again always welcomed. Then we run the 2 Scrambles. Scrambles is definitely a welcome addition in this deck, because effectively it means that we can kind of play our VMons when we need to play them, depending on obviously the condition of making sure that we don't have anything on board and the opponent does have something on board. We can obviously return the key piece, and then we can play out one of our VMons there as well, which can be a searcher, can be our promo V for memory efficiency. It's completely up to us as what we do. Then we combo that up with a nice blinding ray. Blind ray is still at 2 because we want to make sure that we get Magnamon's effect live being the key thing here. Once you got that live, you're cooking. You're comfortable. You're just like chilling in the back seat. It's always great. Then we do run the X antibody at 1. X antibody just come pretty clutch in terms of this lineup. Just make sure that you can kind of do some weird wacky plays in order for you to effectively kind of swing with your Magnamon Evo into your Magnamon X, get the unsuspend, and you're pretty much just nice and comfortable in terms of having an unsuspended body, got your immunity, and you're also done some damage, which is always nice. Then the one-off, which is obviously being limited to 1, is going to be our Awakening. You know, no Awakening does. Awakening effectively reduces the cost of when going into Magnamon X antibody by 2, which is great. Even if you didn't want to go to Magnamon X antibody, you can use this to kind of stack up your Magnamons on top of each other. So you could do a Magnamon BT8, use this, and even into a Magnamon BT8, and then get some suspend and swing again. So really quite effective card here. Quite cool nutty combos. Also, its security effect is able to grab a Magnamon from trash back to our hand, and that's obviously in name, so we can get our Magnamon X antibody back and ready to kind of utilize again. So you understand why this card was reduced to 1. Lastly, we do run the Azumagon Punch at 1. It's just a really good facilitator card in order for you to kind of get that massive tempo. Very, very powerful in what it does. If you meet the requirements, it just means that you're swinging for big numbers, 2 checks, which is a menace. And effectively, if you use this before you go into Paladin, the effects carry over to Paladin, so you could effectively restand and be a blocker, which is nice. And it's very quite nutty plays here. You could effectively use it on your Magna. If you have enough memory, go into Paladin, and then you just kind of literally just chip him through beautifully at that point. Really fantastic card. Do run this at 1 just to be nice and comfortable, but you could effectively switch it out to either run 2 X antibodies. It really depends on the meta that you're facing in. But I'm all of essentially how I built this deck. It's just that consistency, making sure I always see a piece, or I can always do something on my next turn, granted that I'm not already dead. So concludes for the options. Let's go over to the Tamers, because the Tamers, once again, gone more of the consistency route, just to make sure that in long tournament play I feel comfortable. We're going Davis route. So BT3 Davis, we just going with this boy. Just once again, efficiency. Just want to make sure I can see my pieces. When I'm doing a play, I'm grabbing a piece, I'm securing that I'm doing something next turn, and this boy's going to bank me free memory at the start of my turn, which is always great. And the fact that I could potentially grab 2 pieces if there's a green source in there. So if I reveal a Paladin Ace and let's just say a Magnamon, I can grab both of them, which is always good. And then we complement that with a Davis promo. Davis promo I still enjoy just because we do run quite a high count on VMon. It just means that once again I can do more with my plays than if I didn't have promo Davis. So effectively I could throw promo Davis down for the same cost that I would throw down a VMon, but it ensures me that I'm gonna then, if I have a VMon out or a free trade Digimon, so let's just say, I'm able to gain a memory at the start of my main phase, which is always good. These 2 in tandem, 4 memory, goes a long freaking way, trust me. Equally, you can swap these Davises out for Sora and Joe, because Sora and Joe is effective, and Sora and Joe, when they're stacked together, menace. Honestly, gaining 2 memory at the start of your main if the opponent has not got a, well, if they've got a Digimon with no sources, is disgusting. And then attacking, you're able to then strip 2 sources from the opponent's Digimon. Always filthy right there, really gets rid of that proto form, but it really just depends on the meta that you're kind of going into right there. For me, rather go with the full consistency route, just make sure that I can get my pieces and I can actually secure my game plan efficiently without no disruption. So that concludes for the Tamers and the deck profile. Let me know what you think in the comments. And there's the deck list, guys, ready for your retinas, ready for you to adapt. So what do I think to Magnamon and its position in the meta? Magnamon / Armors is just a very powerful deck. Still to this day, it is literally Magnamon being such a menace of how that card was designed. And my Bandai must have been absolutely doing lines when they were making that card, for real. Because it's just that immunity. The immunity to all effects is huge. Massive. Like, no options, no Digimon. What can you do? And that's why it's so strong. That's why Yellow Vaccine got freaking hit, because of just the utilization of using Magnamon X to just be immune to everything. Leaves the opponent in a very sticky situation. Doesn't mean that it's not unbeatable though, because if an opponent can't actually reprop that immunity, 9 times out of 10, the opponent's got an answer for it. But with the list that I've kind of created, it's just making sure that I can consistently get up to Magnamon X efficiently in order for me to effectively then push for damage, do what I need to do, and hopefully claim that dub. And that's where people are kind of leaning towards. So many different variations in terms of how you want to take it, but I think the main playmaker is Magnamon X. It could be that people are leaning towards maybe a bit more of a GX build. Ultimately, because they've triggered Magnamon X's actual immunity effect, going to GX and just plowing through for X amount of checks, immune to everything, is just absolutely formidable. And it's crazy how much damage you can do with just that kind of massive push. Even just having immunity and going into a Paladin Mode Ace is just massive, because effectively you just this immune body that is going to be literally bottom decking so many cards back to the opponent's deck, and you just still pushing for damage. You're hard punishing the opponent for going wide, once you're then immune to whatever they have in their security. And I think it is a little bit of a design flaw from Bandai, but I think it's a flaw. I hate admitting this. It's the flaw that's made Armors such a strong contender in this current format, and I think in formats to come. I don't think they'll ever print off another set like Magnamon X antibody at all. And I think that will be the card, the absolute hard carry that just keeps Armors always meta relevant, in my personal opinions. But please, guys, let me know in the comments what your thoughts on Magnamon X. I know a lot of people said that card should be banned. My personal opinion, don't think it should be banned, because effectively then they're just going to have to kind of redesign another Magnamon X, which is going to be then kind of subpar, and I just don't know if Armors as an archetype will ever be in the meta as it is, but I understand why it would be banned. Like, I'm not saying that it shouldn't be banned, I'm just saying that if it is going to be banned, then Armors is just never going to be back in the meta how it is, unless we literally have a redesigned normal Magna or another Magnamon X antibody that's going to kind of replace that with equal effects but a bit more balanced. But that is just my take. But guys, stay safe, stay fly, make sure you drop it a like as standard, help the algorithm and all that shit, and keep it real. That's your boy D-Dread, off the mic.